Cinema Classics is sponsored by the Gateway Film Center and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. You can listen to full shows online at wcbe.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
You bet.
We have a mashup tete-a-tete for you today.
No, I don't know. I know.
It's hard keeping up with all these new movies. Two recent films that are in best of the year conversations in wildly different contexts are Belfast.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's wonderful Reverie.
And Julia Ducournau's French, I don't even know how to describe it, Titane.
Yeah.
It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes this year.
Yeah, it's coming from the plate on the lady's head, titanium.
Right.
So Titane is the way I would say it if we were...
But it's French.
I know.
So I would say Titane.
All right. So
but
what,
I don't know how to
what
say
do we
it.
know?
Titane.
The blood and guts in the film, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I want to posit this to you, that these two films, wildly different films, tonally, stylistically,
everything.
I want to say that in some ways, they're not so thematically different. They're in many ways about family.
Yes, they are. And Branagh, as you would expect, is his reimagining his 9-year-old, when he was 9 years old and in Belfast at the time of the Troubles.
Yeah.
Between the Catholics and the Protestants in 1969. So that, that's what I expected. It's more pleasant than I would have expected. He does reference the fighting, but yet it is mostly still, and you're right, it's mostly about family, about love, and about the way I think of my childhood post World War II.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better.
Right.
All rose-colored glasses in
yeah.
it. Yeah. And
well, it's very romantic, and it takes a very romantic, loving view of place, people.
Yeah.
The Van Morrison music.
I know. He is such a bad boy.
Yeah. Titane. Okay, so you have this little boy, right? He's living with his grandparents. Live in the same house.
Yep.
His mom and dad. He loves them both. The mom is impossibly gorgeous.
Yeah, as the dad is pretty handsome.
Yeah. By the way, this guy, his name is what is that guy's name? Jamie Dornan.
Yeah, right.
And I kept bringing me out of the movie because I kept thinking, could he be the next James Bond?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We've had Irish James Bonds before.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
which is one of the flaws of the movie, as far as I'm concerned. Nobody looks like that. Lives in this small town in Belfast.
Yes,
it's just really Branagh. Come on, but it's part.
But it's part of it,
right?
It's
this
part
over-romanticized
vision of the past. The black and white cinematography is really beautiful.
Listen to
you get pops of color here and there.
Listen to an interview somewhere that where Branagh talks about the choices you have when you do black and white. Amazing. That it's not just, okay, let's do black and white. Yeah. Let's do a particular way, particular kind of black and white.
This surprises you? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean, I just hadn't thought about it. Of course, in the current
you've lived
digital
through
empire. Yes.
Yes, of course. There's a different black and white.
I know. I just love it. Anyway, the black and white works for me. I think there's a bit of color at the beginning.
There is.
Yeah. I think there's a tracking shot through Belfast or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you do get that contrast. But I want to talk about... I'll defer to your pronunciation of Titane.
Neither one of us.
The flat American version.
Yes, we should have gone to YouTube and...
So this movie is about a young woman, a serial killer, who, suffered some traumatic automobile accident as a kid, where you mentioned she gets a steel plate in her head. She grows up to have this car fetish. She has sex with a car.
One of the more interesting, odd pieces of business in film.
That is an understatement.
And she gets pregnant.
And then she becomes pregnant.
I know.
And later she starts seeping oil out of her breasts.
I know.
Okay, so that's the setup to the movie, right? This woman who is so damaged, and I think really what hovers over the proceedings of the first part of that film is her relationship with her father. Guy clearly doesn't love this kid, He's annoyed by her. So I think the premise is that when family goes awry, and then there's a traumatic experience to sort of cement that gap in the lack of love in your life as a child, you create a sociopath, right? Because then she goes out and she becomes a serial killer, which segues into this part where in order to evade the law, she disguises herself as a kid who was missing.
Yeah, she saw a missing poster.
Right.
And she made herself look, which was
an age progression.
Whoa, and but the way in which she transformed herself is truly amazing cinematically.
It is a brutal scene, right?
Where
she's smashing her nose.
And let me warn the audience in a way and recommend in a way. If you love cinema and you want to see how far it can go, this is a movie to see. If you're squeamish, is not the movie to see.
Right, and this is part of why this little conversation is so brilliant, because Belfast is a very soothing, warm, charming film. And Branagh knows exactly how to orchestrate an audience's emotions.
He does.
He knows how to lure you in, soothe you, trouble you. Julia Ducournau is all about frustrating you and challenging you to look away, to sit tight, to sort of challenging your perceptions about what a healthy relationship is, what love looks like.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty part of the movie for me, is her relationship with Vincent, the father who, the aging firefighter.
Yes.
Who accepts her as his...
An incredible Hulk, this guy.
Yeah. As his grown son, who he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
And I thought as a father you must relate to this in some way, right? That the beauty part is that he misses this kid so much. It's created such a hole in his life and his existence and his identity that he is just willing to believe that this person doesn't look anything like this.
But don't you think he knows?
Of course.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's so willing to believe it.
He wants to love.
He wants to love.
That is really the answer that Julia is putting forth here. And I really don't know if I have the courage to see her raw, but I need to. But Branagh, I've seen most of his productions. Mm-hmm. Here's a guy who has no problem playing Shakespeare, and I thought I brought a quote for you.
Yes, let's hear it.
As to why he has so much experience with Shakespeare, and yet can be Hercule Poirot in or in Express. Mm-hmm. Right? Here's what he says.
Yeah.
There's no situation in Shakespeare that I've come up against that somehow hasn't been described in those plays.
That's interesting.
How about that?
It is, and just to cap off the show real quick, what Ducournau is doing in Titane with the relationships, with the sheer experience of love, fatherly love, daughterly love, gender fluid love, loving cars, it is Shakespearean in its scope.
Yes, it is. However, if you and I weren't such close friends and colleagues, that she would have never gotten on this show. But since you ordered me to see it, and I always take your recommendations, and they are almost always flawless.
Right. I think you have to admit, though, and I think you do, like, there is, whether or not you enjoy this movie, exactly. It's not about enjoying it.
Exactly.
Right?
There's nothing.
Every once in a while, you need to see a movie that rattles you, that challenges your expectations. Whether you dislike this movie or you love this movie, I don't think you can say that it's bad.
No.
You have to. It's a useful exercise if you care about film.
And if you care about acting, to see her in this is just remarkable. And it reminds me that this is the kind of thing that, in a more modest way, Christian Bale would have done.
Yeah.
Transforming himself.
Right.
She transforms herself.
Yes.
And